All right, let's dive into the world of Arreqqana. Now, on the surface, it might look a little bit like our own world, but there is one fundamental difference that changes absolutely everything. Here, the land itself writes the law. Today, we're going to explore this fascinating political tapestry.
So let me ask you this. Just think about it for a second. What if the mountains, rivers, and deserts all around us didn't just, influence our culture, but actually wrote the very rules of how we govern ourselves? Because in Arreqqana, geography isn't just the backdrop, it's the entire script. And that's really the heart of what we're exploring today, this idea of a political tapestry. We're going to see how all these wildly different environments create this beautiful, incredibly complex mosaic of political systems where each one is perfectly adapted to its home.
So let's start in the toughest places. In the harshest, most unforgiving landscapes of Arreqqana, politics isn't some kind of luxury. It's something that's forged in the fire of the daily struggle just to exist. You've got everyone from the high mountain clans to the desert nomads, and you can see that each political identity is a direct answer to the land's challenges. I mean, the need for foresight to predict avalanches or the absolute necessity of interdependence to share water, it shapes everything. It is all connected. Get this. A single mountain range gives birth to two completely different political systems. Up in the north, the high clans value foresight above everything else. Their leaders are literally called weather watchers, and their debates are these slow, deliberate councils where even silence is a form of argument. But in the south, it's all about tangible skill. And this, right here, is the entire philosophy of the Southern Forge alliances. If you want to lead, you don't just talk, you build. A leader is only inaugurated after they present a physical masterpiece, proving their worth through their own two hands. And you see the same idea's survival in the desert and the jungle. For the Oasis compacts, politics is all about protecting that one precious resource, water, from outsiders. And in the jungle, the Emerald Pact's matrilineal councils are stewards, they're guardians of sacred medicinal knowledge. In both places, governance is protection.
Okay, but not all of Arreqqana is about hunkering down and surviving. In the next regions we're going to look at, power isn't about holding your ground. It's all about movement. This is politics defined by the constant flow of rivers, trade, and people.
So what's the common thread here? Well, the core values are all about connection, diplomacy, openness, adaptability. For the Rivers League of Currents and the Coastal Maritime Councils, commerce isn't just business. It is the foundation of political life itself. And again, you see these fascinating contrasts. In the river region, trade is a form of internal diplomacy. Their contracts are literally sacred songs, and the biggest political fights are all about who gets what water upstream versus downstream. But then you go to the coast, and power is hereditary, the focus is outward, and it's this constant balancing act between the traditional priests and the profit-hungry merchants. And then you get to the island chains, and wow, things get really interesting. Here in the Tide Confederation, leadership is a pure meritocracy. You can't just inherit power. You have to earn it by knowing the sea. Your authority is measured by how well you can read the star charts. It's as fluid and changing as the tides themselves. I just love this concept from the townships. Power here is just incredibly pragmatic. Major political debates don't happen in some stuffy, closed-off hall. Nope, they happen right out in the open during these huge, vibrant seasonal fairs. It's public, it's practical, and it's totally tied to the rhythm of community life. All right, for our last group of societies, this connection to the land goes even deeper. For these people, identity is completely inseparable from a single place. The land isn't just a resource you use, it's like an ancestor that you have to honor. It does matter if you're in the forest heartlands, with their focus on ecological balance, or the countryside, with its obsession with continuity. These societies are defined by their deep, profound connection to a single place. And their politics are all about preserving that heritage. And check this out, their justice system is the perfect example of this. In the countryside, they have these traveling arbiters called grain judges. Their entire job is to settle disputes in a way that maintains the continuity of ancestral lands. Justice isn't some abstract idea. It's about keeping those family circles and fields intact. So in the forest heartlands, you get this really clear, almost classic showdown. On one side, you have the circle of roots. They believe that important decisions have to be ritually sung into the soil beneath these sacred listening trees. But on the other side, you have traders who look at those exact same trees and just see a resource. It's that timeless conflict between tradition and commerce.
And that brings us to the city-states, which are a whole different beast. Here, civic pride is absolutely everything. Debate is a form of public entertainment, a spectacle. And power isn't held by just one person, it's this constant dynamic negotiation between three main groups: the brainy temple scholars, the rich merchant syndicates, and the skilled artisan guilds. So, with all this incredible diversity, you gotta ask, right? What stops Arreqqana from just flying apart into a million pieces? Well, it turns out there are two key cultural threads that manage to weave this entire complicated tapestry together.
First up, you have something called the Shirok rhythm. This is a shared idea that politics isn't a battle to be won, but more like a dance. It's a performance and a negotiation. So even in their fiercest disagreements, there's this recognized art form to how they engage with each other.
And the second thing holding it all together are the Chiraka Haviz houses. The best way to think of these noble families is as the ultimate diplomats and culture carriers. Their members are constantly moving between all these different regions, brokering alliances, sharing traditions. They're basically the social glue for the whole continent.
And that really brings us back to the heart of it all. What Arreqqana shows us is that politics can be a living, breathing thing, something that's intricately woven from the very soil and the water and the stone of a place. It's not one single system, but a beautiful, complex tapestry.
So that's what I want to leave you with. Looking at Arreqqana's tapestry kind of forces us to look at our own world a little differently. How do our own mountains and rivers and coastlines and cities subtly write the rules of our own power? It's definitely something to think about. Thanks for joining me on this one.